came out this week and said you do not need to have the rushing champion to win a Super Bowl. Weird, because Jerry Jones has won 3 Super Bowls. Each time, Emmitt Smith was the NFL's leading rusher when they won those Super Bowls. Although I will say that was, 100 years ago? The NFL has changed in quite some time. So it's understandable. And Jerry Jones is technically correct. You don't need to have the NFL rushing champion to win a Super Bowl. He does, but other teams don't. Obviously, the New England Patriots won a Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount as their leading rusher, James White as their leading rusher, although those teams finished 5th in rushing. So the thing is, the Dallas Cowboys, though, need a rusher, the leading rusher, to win a Super Bowl because of the way they are constructed. Jerry Jones has built a team similar to the way he built his team in the 1990s with a strong 3 trio right at its core. Top quarterback, top receiver, top running back. Instead of Aikman, Emmitt, and Michael Irvin, it is Dak, Zeke, and Amari Cooper. So they definitely need a running back because the way this team is built. Look, it's not like the Cowboys have a plethora of wide receivers. A lot of big-time wide receivers that go along with Amari Cooper. It's not like they have a bevy, a whole grip of running backs to worry about. A whole committee that they could go with. They don't have any of that. They have Ezekiel Elliott. And if Jerry Jones wants to play the analytics game and say, look, we don't need a running back, then don't draft one with the 4th overall pick, which is exactly what you did. So the Cowboys, if you are going to be competitive this season, you definitely need a running back. And we'll be talking about running backs today as I give you my best, worst, and sleepers for 2019. And Mitch, let's start the show. And what is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us here once again. For anybody who is streaming live on Facebook.com/Adam Rank, we appreciate you being here. And of course, at some point, we're turning over to YouTube. It might be next week. Who knows? We're working on that. But of course, you can still download and listen to the show on Apple Pod, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and all those other places where you find podcasts. And I am trying to bring we're going to have a special guest today. And I'm trying to bring that person aboard. And we're going to do that here in just a moment. We will be having a special guest as we go through our top running backs, best, worst, sleepers for 2019. But first, a quick shout out to Mitch Hine, the man who puts this show together. Now, he not only is the person who puts all this into your earbuds that you can listen to. Check these out, by the way. Am I not a cool millennial now? If you're not streaming, then that probably is flying over your head because I have these obnoxious, bright, fluorescent yellow Samsung earbuds. But you know what? Here's the thing. Mitch Hine puts this show together. He also does the original score. But let's bring out our special guest. And if we can bring her. We'll be doing that here just momentarily as the, she's ready, I think. Lauren, what is happening?
Hi! We did it. We figured it out.
We did figure this out. I'm so excited that you're here.
Me too. Me too. Can you hear me okay? And most importantly, not that important. I'll just wait and see.
I got cut off for a second. I don't know what happened. But that was very weird. But we're happy to have you on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me okay.
I think so. If they can't hear you, hopefully they will. Oh, Oswego's in the house. So if anybody is sitting there and if anybody knows, if you can't hear Stepmom Lauren, please let us know because I want her voice loud and clear. And by the way, a new website for Stepmom Lauren. How is it going? How's the website going? It looks very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. It's going really well. I did almost have a mini meltdown yesterday because for some reason my hosting had a bit of a glitch and it erased my website, the last 2 months of work I had put into it. Yeah. My husband had to talk me down from the near collapse of my life because I thought it was gone, but it's back up and running. I hope. I think so. I checked it this morning and it was working fine. So you can find all my work there. It's way easier than trying to just list off all of these places. Just go to my website. My stuff's right there. Super easy.
All the fine stuff that you do for the fantasy footballers and the fantasy whisperers. There's so many
Yeah,
things.
speaking of fantasy footballers, hi, Andy Holloway.
You do so many great things, and so we're pleased to have you on. That you still remember us. That is our number one thing. That you still remember.
Yes, I haven't forgotten you, as you are likened to say. I have not left you and gone, and you're not working at Starbucks, forgotten by the world. You can't get rid of me that easily, Rank.
It's going to be the coffee bean, but that's okay. Now,
whatever.
I wanted to talk running backs with you today, and we're going to go through the best, the worst, and the sleepers. What I wanted to do, if it's okay with you, I want to go through my list of 10. And I just want to get your take on all of them. I will give a little bit of advice of where I'm thinking and where I'm going from, but I also want you to chime in, tell me if I'm way off base, if I'm missing anybody, and anything like that. Now, what we'll do, though, is assuming that everybody's going to be healthy and be ready, all the holdouts are going to be taken care of. This is assuming that everybody's going to be there week 1 and ready to go. So here it is. We'll start with number 10.
Bring it.
I'm going to go, listen, this might be a surprise to a lot of people. I think Todd Gurley ends up as a top 10 fantasy running back this season, as the top 10, as the number 10 fantasy running back. And here's the thing. Last year, if you took 70% of his production, he would still have finished in the top 10. And for me, I kind of liken it to purchasing a car. Now, I'm not going to go out and pay full price, and pay the full MSRP. I'm not giving you a first-round price for that. But I think end of the second round, if you're lucky enough that he falls in the third round, because I think that as we start getting closer to draft time, people start getting a little bit more apprehensive. I think for the price that you can get him at, I think second round, late second round, I think that's a very fair price. Where do you have Todd Gurley?
That's so interesting that we're actually talking about, is it a surprise that Todd Gurley is in the top 10? Isn't that still so strange to even think that that's a reality right now? I do like him in the top 10. I don't think it's that far of a stretch. I don't 100% disagree with you, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he's not up in the top 10 because they did reach and get Darrell Henderson. And they did that for a reason, not just as a security blanket for Todd Gurley, but also he's incredibly explosive. He scored had 214 attempts, almost 2,000 rushing yards last year in college, and he scored 22 touchdowns. The kid is an athletic beast. And I apologize. I know I sound like kind of gravelly right now. Allergies have been trying their best to kill me. My eyeballs are puffy. I sound like an 80-year-old smoker. I promise I'm usually far more eloquent. But back to the point.
I thought you were out in Sarasota at the dog races this afternoon.
I know. With my hat and plumage coming off of it, just oh my God, get out of my petunias, kids. What are you doing? I don't know. But yeah, and so I think Malcolm Brown has a shot to be Todd Gurley's backup in this situation. But if you want to take Todd Gurley, I really don't see anything wrong with that. Some people hate it. Some people really love it. Just have a strategy based on how you want to draft, especially around Darrell Henderson or Malcolm Brown. And for people who are in a league who have other Todd Gurley owners who are either keeping them or take them, just grab Darrell Henderson just to see the look on that guy's face of just abashed hatred for you for ruining his team. And then tweet me. Take a picture of it and tweet me and make my day, because that would be awesome.
What's your Twitter handle again?
My Twitter handle?
Yes.
Come on now. Stepmom Lauren.
I want you to plug the Twitter handle. That's all.
It's Stepmom Lauren. It's the easiest thing ever. Stepmom Lauren on Facebook.com/Stepmom Lauren. Twitter, Stepmom Lauren. Instagram, Stepmom Lauren. Website, stepmomlauren.com. Although I highly recommend not Googling Stepmom Lauren. Just type it directly in the URL.
Why? What would happen if you start Googling Stepmom Lauren? What happens?
I believe there is a plethora of adult video entertainment that may have precedence over my brand new website.
Hey now.
So, it's not me. Trust me. Okay? Just letting y'all know.
Fair enough.
I don't endorse that. But just type it in the URL. Don't Google it.
But it's
unless you're into that.
Hey, listen. I don't want to knock it. If anybody wants to draft Todd Gurley in the first round, if somebody wants to Google Stepmom Lauren for another nefarious reasons, I'm not. Listen, you do you. You do. I'm just telling you what I do, and I don't do either one of those things. I will tell you though. Number 9, I'm going to come in with James Conner. And I know that he did very well last season at the last minute. He kind of was the guy who just showed up. Everybody who didn't draft Le'Veon Bell and ended up with James Conner were very happy. He ranked 6th in the NFL with 113.1 scrimmage yards, although from week 9 on, he was a much different running back as he battled through some injuries. He had just one game where he went over 100 scrimmage yards during that stretch at the end of the year. But I am going to be undaunted because the Steelers have a history of doing well with their running backs. Their offensive line is one of the best in the league. And, of course, the Steelers were 5-0-1 in games where Conner touched the ball at least 20 times. So I imagine that's going to be the game plan again this season. And perhaps, these running backs, they run into a little bit of a rookie wall or something like that.
Oh, don't worry. I said Rooney. I was talking about rookie running backs like over the weekend, and I called them Rooney Rookie backs. So trust me, it happens. Yeah, my Rooney Rookie backs article was fabulous. I didn't actually write it. I just talked about it. But continue.
But I have James Conner at number 9. And too high, too low, or just about right?
I like it. I really like it. I think it's possible he could slip down into that 10 position by the end of the year. But where he is right now going into the season, I think that's a solid spot for him. Without Le'Veon Bell, obviously, this is kind of James Conner's backfield. But we also have Jalen Samuels. There's so many Jalens, just like the Williams. And I'm so glad one of those Williams boys is not on the Chargers anymore to make my life confusing every single weekend. Anyway, and they're both wide receivers, too. Go figure. Anywho, and Samuels he is going to be, in, the offense. He's going to have some production with that. They may, for the first time, feature some kind of a, 2 running back set. I don't know. We'll see. It could be pretty interesting. But I do like James Conner, too. He can guarantee you yards in production. And there may be some, touchdown snipered away from him this year, but I don't think very much. But he's going to feature prominently and heavily in that Steelers offense. That's one thing I do like about James Conner. He's pretty consistent and reliable. Unless he gets hurt, which, of course, this is barring injury. So
that's everybody, though. I mean, everybody's going to be battling injuries, and there's going to be an injury risk. So it's just one of those things.
I mean, like preseason right now, everyone's dropping like flies.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Eat your Wheaties and drink your milk, boys. Come on now.
I can't even sit here because I want these podcasts to be a little bit timeless. So I can't really get too granular into the injuries unless it's very significant. But, man, when you just see it over the first couple of weeks, you're like, this is crazy how many guys have been going down. We saw Andrew Luck miss some time earlier this week. AJ Green, of course, had ankle surgery. We'll talk about that. That'll probably impact one of his teammates, who we'll probably talk about at some point. But I want to move on to number 8, Melvin Gordon. Again, another one of those guys who's holding out. Listen, but we're still going to, even though the Chargers have a terrible history with their holdouts, I'm thinking about guys like Joey Bosa. I'm thinking about, of course, Antonio Gates was held out of the game back in when I was a season ticket holder. And they lost the game to the Cowboys because they bashed. Oh, my gosh. The mask is already throwing me up. Here's the thing I will say, though. Even though Melvin Gordon has battled injuries throughout his career, I've never given him the benefit of the doubt. He has finished top 8 in the last 3 seasons. That's why I think 8's a good spot for him, but I feel like you're going to be very different here.
It depends on if he plays. I mean, right?
Well,
I don't know.
Let's say he plays. Let's say for the sake of this argument, most people, by the time you're doing your draft, whether it's the 3rd week of preseason or whatever, we have an indication he's going to be back. He's going to be starting week 1. Is 8 too high?
I want to say no, but then I want to say yes. This is one I'm so not sold on. And this is really annoying because I did draft him first overall in a league that I drafted for this summer. This one right here. Drafted him first overall, and then one day later, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm not showing up. I'm like, you could have you could have told me that ahead of time, Melvin. Where was the love? Where was it? So, I mean, this is tough for me because
it was trending. The Scott Fish Bowl was trending. He should have known. He should have let
He should have known. I mean,
right?
I thought we were besties this whole time. I was a fool. Clearly, we are not friends, but that's okay. Now that I know better, I'll just be bitter and scornful and, hope he plays and then be mad that he does. I don't know. It's a very confusing thing when you're a woman hating a player that you really want to succeed. It's very complicated. But
well, I feel like I've rooted against him all these years, but okay.
Yeah, you really have. So it's interesting that you do have him here at number 8, but you know what? We'll go with it. I'm curious to see if LA, if they really want to prove a point with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson, even if Melvin Gordon does play. So how much are they going to say, you know what, we didn't really need you anyway? Whether or not he plays, that is going to be super interesting to me, like almost a very Steelers-esque situation where they're like, we got our guy James Conner, whatever. You know, and Austin Eckler did have some pretty explosive games as well, and Justin Jackson isn't a slouch either. So going into this season, 8 is a good place for him. Possibly he could end up in the top 12, top 15 if it goes the way that I think it might, which is kind of scary for us Melvin Gordon owners over here. But I hope it doesn't, because there's that downfield threat is now gone. You've got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, which I really like. That is going to spread the field out, hopefully give Melvin Gordon some space, and then he can prove why he should get paid or why it was justifiable that he got paid, assuming that he does. But it's okay for him, I guess. I would be real happier if he was like, oh, look, I got a contract. Here I am at training camp.
Well, Mike Thomas
Is that too much to ask?
Right. That's not too much to ask. I think
it's not too much to ask.
Mike Thomas was signed on Wednesday morning, and it should be hopefully something that spurs these other teams to kind of get their deals done and get everybody into camp and ready to go. By the way, I do want to give a quick shout out to Bob Harris, who's joining us right now. I don't know how we can't bring in 3 people. I got to figure that out at some point, because it'd be fun to have Bob Harris in here as well. And of course, anybody who's listening to the show knows Bob Harris from Sirius XM. I believe, I'm trying to think of it because I know on the West Coast, 3 o'clock when I get into my car, Bob Harris is on helping me drive home. So check out Sirius XM. Bob Harris, one of the best in the business. So we're delighted. It's nervous time for, I don't know about you, Stepmom Lauren, but for me, I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, wow. It's like if you're doing comedy and like Seinfeld walks into the back and you're like, oh, wow, how I just got a little tense. So we got to be on our A game here. So that's all that I'm saying.
I'm always on my A game. You know what? You speak for yourself. I was born ready.
I could go either
and screaming, but I was born ready.
Born ready, yes. All right, we're going to move to number 7. And this is probably where most people will have issue with me, because if you start thinking about it, you're like, wait, if Gurley's 10 and Connor's 9 and Gordon's like, who is snuck into the top 10 who I'm not anticipating? Is it Leonard Fournette? Is it the RB1 of the Bengals? Is it, no, you know who I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Damian Williams. And I love having a RB1 from the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know one of our good friends tweeted out yesterday, she was going on about how, is Andy Reid really the running back whisperer that we believe him to be? Because you think about Westbrook had some great years without Andy Reid. LaShawn McCoy had his best seasons without Andy Reid. And Jamal Charles was doing pretty well before Andy Reid got there. So I understand all of that. But the one thing that I like about this is the opportunity, because anytime that Andy Reid has made a decision on a running back, he has stuck with that guy. That has been his player throughout the entire season, unless he gets hurt. And so, and I know a lot of people will be like, well, they got Carlos Hyde. Like, who cares? Like, Carlos Hyde, like, that's who, like, we're talking about, like, Seth Rollins not be so confident in his main event spot because Drake Maverick is back there. Or no, that's actually terrible, because I love Drake Maverick. He was really nice to me. Terrible. I'm sorry, Drake. I take that back. But I'm just trying to make an example. Carlos Hyde is not somebody that you need to be concerned about. So I'm going to go with Damian Williams in that high-profile offense. I feel like I'm reaching here, but I got him at number 7.
You are reaching like Todd Gurley owners reach for Darrell Henderson. What? Are you kidding me? I don't know. I mean, yeah, but don't forget, Andy Reid also forgets that he has a running back for a few weeks at a time. Remember when Kareem Hunt completely fell off the map and everyone's like, where did he go? Is he okay? Did he go to Cabo and hang out with Zeke? We don't know. That's what Andy Reid does. So I don't know. I mean, he has the potential, sure. But, like, for some reason, I think there's been so much buzz around Damian Williams that as soon as I hear the name, I'm like, oh, it's like an electric shock, because I feel like a hype train is going to come and smash me upside the head. So, I mean, I guess he could make this list, but that high up is pretty spicy. It's cantankerous. I tried to work your name in there. I don't think it had the same splash as I was hoping it would. But, you know, you guys knew what I meant. Whatever.
Yeah, there's your A game you were talking about.
Born ready.
You know what? It's so funny, though, because now I do feel terrible. Now that I've said the words out here and we're talking about it, I do feel terrible. Like, I'm like, oh, you're right. Like, he does forget his running backs a lot. I think it was Brian Westbrook was the one he was the most famous for doing that with, where he'd be like, Hey, what happened in the second half when you didn't give the ball to Brian Westbrook? He's like, oh yeah, I just forgot. He gets a little too
Yeah.
excited about some of his players and does have some different ideas. And now and it is one of those things too. And I think that you're absolutely right about everybody hyping him up. And it usually happens with movies. Like this is why if I really am anticipating a movie, I'm already bummed that I haven't seen the new Tarantino flick because I hate being the person because whenever somebody hypes up a movie, you're like, it's never going to be good enough. It's like the Fight Club syndrome. Like everybody was hyping up Fight Club so much, and everybody was talking about a twist at the end that I sat there watching the movie, going like, "What's the twist?" Like immediately sitting there
Or
on the
like Sixth
defensive,
Sense. Yeah.
like Sixth Sense was one, although Sixth Sense is a little bit different. Yeah, no, actually, that's pretty much the same. But Fight Club being like, oh, wait, Ed Norton's Tyler Durden too, right? And there was like, damn it. Like, you put that into my mind.
Spoiler alert.
I can't, oh, yeah, sorry, spoiler. So I could see that being the case, and I might have to I don't know. I honestly, these first couple of running backs we're talking about, I don't really care for. Now that
Well,
we're getting
here's a thing that real quick before you go on. This is what Andy Reid did to Kareem Hunt in 2017. Week 6, he only had 9 attempts. Week 9, he only had 9 attempts. Week 12, 9 attempts. Week 16, 1 attempt. After that, it was in the 20s or up close to the 20s. So you are going to have those games where Andy Reid's like, oh yeah, and plus Kareem Hunt can catch too. So that's what I fear for Damian Williams as well. And I'm just not sure he's as talented a caliber player as Kareem Hunt. Hopefully, he's a better person in real life, but there's that. You may proceed. I'm allowing you to.
Well, I feel like you're Elizabeth Warren and I'm that dude that she nuked on stage on Tuesday night. That's how that just felt right now. Like, oh, I'm just a crater. We'll see you next week. We got to go. I didn't feel great about it, and now I feel worse about it. But really, these six.
We really are friends in real life, everybody. I promise.
We were until that exchange. You do make a lot of sense. But you know what? The thing is, that's one of the things about the running back position, and that's one of the reasons why I like to go wide receiver so much, is that so many of these guys, it is so volatile with not only their usage. For some players, it's usage. For some players, it's injury risk, and there's other things going on, and perhaps they'll be playing from behind too much and things of that nature. So, yeah, and it's one of those things that we got to discuss and talk about. And you know what? I'm sitting here. It's not even August 1st yet, which is Wedge's birthday, by the way. Shout out to
Oh, that's right.
He could be, in swim lessons right now and not paying.
Oh my gosh, what a cutie!
But in any event, so for right now, I'm still going to stick with Damian Williams just because of the opportunity. But I really love where these next 6 guys are starting to come. Well, at least 5 of them. I'm going to go with number 6. And this is terrible. I almost want to – I feel like I'm going to end up pushing him up at some point because I'm really into Le'Veon Bell for this season, who came out this week, apologized to everybody. Now, my friend Matthew Berry was not having it. He's like, nope, not good enough, jerk. And I'm like, I appreciate that. I'm the sucker. Like, okay. He said he was sorry.
But he sent me flowers.
He said he was sorry. Like, whatever. Like, I'm that guy who's, if you have a group of friends and somebody does something bad and gets ostracized, I will be the one who tries to pull them back in and be like, all right, he's fine. Like, he didn't mean it. He needed to make some money. It's uneasy. Okay, he makes some poor decisions, but whatever. He's back now. And the one thing – and I like about this situation is that he came out and said, like, look, I'll carry the ball 500 times if you need me to. That might happen with Adam Gase because when Gase took over, Magon, what is it, GM Dave Magon or whatever, Mike Magon. He went out there and spent so much money. Like it's almost like Magon knew he was getting fired, so he took the corporate card out and was like, come on, everybody, we're going to get lunch. Get
yeah.
Get all the appetizers at TGI Fridays you want. I'm putting it on the corpo card because you want the CJ Mosley? Yeah, whatever. I'm going to tip Le'Veon Bell $5 million. Like, whatever. He just went crazy. Got fired. Now Adam Gase is like, can I return this? Like, do I have to pay for this? Am I responsible for this? Unfortunately for him, for one season, he was going to be. So I could see him looking at this kind of like, like you're an office manager who took over and somebody bought all this furniture that you don't want. And the only way that you can justify getting rid of it is that to break it. So he's going to be, doing like, chair races in the hallway and everything like that. He might definitely just give Le'Veon Bell 500 carries. And he's the best person in this offense. He's their best receiver. He's their best running back. So I feel like I have him low at number 6.
You make a really good point. As long as he doesn't change his name to Jay Ajayi or Kenyon Drake, I think Le'Veon Bell will be just fine. Also, he probably shouldn't insult his head coach, Adam Gase, because we really don't know why Adam Gase hated those two players so much. So he should really mind his P's and Q's, considering that Adam Gase didn't want to pay that kind of money for him to begin with. He's so talented. There's no way around that. You can't deny it. He can work. He can be in a garbage team. Granted, the Jets don't have the offensive line like the Steelers do, but does that really matter for Le'Veon Bell? This is going to be a true testament to see how good he truly is, basically within the realm of a vacuum without being on the Steelers, without having an explosive threat like Antonio Brown downfield, without having other options that were available to Big Ben and that gave him space. But then again, it's Le'Veon Bell. He's not a traditional running back. I don't even think he knows what that means, considering the way that he runs and how he plays. So it's very possible he could be at number 6. I would have put him a little bit lower. I would have had Damian Williams off this list. I would have put Le'Veon Bell a little bit lower. But I definitely see where you're coming from because he is just an athletic freak of nature.
Let's go to number 5, another athletic freak of nature, somebody who can also catch and run the ball in a brand new offense. We're going to be talking about David Johnson. I want all shares of this Cardinals offense, and I understand that this can go one of two ways. Either Cliff Kingsbury is going to come out. This is going to be the second coming of the greatest show on turf, I know that, which is something that speaks to you, or it's going to go the other way. It's going to be like Steve Spurrier with the Washington Redskins. And I know for all the kids out there who are listening to this, Steve Spurrier, the guy from the Dr. Pepper commercials, was actually a head coach in both college and professional.
And in the AAF.
Yeah. His first couple of weeks with Washington were really good. But one of the things about Spurrier is that he was just not going to work hard. He was going to be 9 to 5. He was going to be out at the golf course. And when they figured it out, he's like, oh, that sucks. They figured it out. Yeah, do you want to do some adjustments there, Coach? No, we're good. I made that Dan Snyder money. We're going to just go ahead and roll in it. So I do – the one thing that I do really like about Cliff Kingsbury is that he didn't have a lot to work with at Texas Tech. I know people will point to the record, oh, he didn't win at Texas Tech. Who is going to win at Texas Tech? I mean, it's a miracle that he got not only Patrick Mahomes but Baker Mayfield to buy in, to get out there to love it. But those guys are quarterbacks. He's not getting the offensive linemen or a lot of the skill players that you need to make this offense successful. Now, obviously, you can take this to the NFL level, and now you've got real NFL players out there running it, guys like David Johnson, Christian Kirk, and, of course, Larry Fitzgerald. So I like it a lot. The one thing I also like, too, and the thing I like about Cliff Kingsbury is that he was making fun of his players for being upset about their Madden ratings. And then he found out that he looks like not great. Is not great at Madden. I'm like, oh, how does that feel, Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah.
You know what it's like. Like, he's a handsome person. He's never had to deal with life as an uggo like me. Like, that's
please.
That's not me. Like, for you, it's a video game. I got to deal with that every day. That's when I look at the mirror, I can't blame it on the graphic designers at EA. I'm like, I just had to blame that on nature. So you deal with that, but I love David Johnson, and I love this offense.
I do too. I love David Johnson so much. My very first article for the Fantasy Footballers was how David Johnson is going to be a running back discount, top 5. I absolutely love him. And when that came out in April, so many people had pushback from it. They're like, oh, David Johnson's going to suck again, blah, 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 blah. And then now suddenly he's going in the first round again. Like, maybe I was onto something. I don't know. Or everyone else was. I was just repeating what y'all said. So making myself look like I'm smart. But I'm kidding. But you gave me that idea, though. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Because I was asking you, like, I want to write about David Johnson because I think this is his year. That offensive line still bothers me and it still worries me. But one thing I do really like about what Kyler Murray is able to do is live to see another down. And that plays really well into players like David Johnson. And Kyler Murray also has excellent chemistry with Christian Kirk. So, and then you have just the almighty freak of nature, David Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald. This is finally all of these kind of superstar pieces that have been on this crap offense for far too long are going to have their chance to be like, no, you guys need to take it seriously. And the person who's going to lead them there is going to be David Johnson. And I am so excited to see how he does.
Steve Wilkes was the coach there for 1 year, and it still seems like it was a decade. Like, oh my God, that was the worst.
Yeah, because every game felt like it was an entire NFL season in one 60-minute game or however long it went, because it felt like I got gray hair after watching it, because every play you're like, no, why? Oh my God. Then you look away, it's only one play later. Didn't they run the fewest plays in the entire NFL? You can't get worse. How can you get worse than that? Come on.
Mike McCoy, how do you show up at parties? Like, if
I
I'm
know.
Mike McCoy, you're like, hey,
how do you look at yourself in the mirror? Oh, I digress. I'm not even a Cardinals fan, and I get verklempt about it, so I can't imagine how Cardinals fans feel, like my fantasy footballer bosses. Sorry about you. It's going to be your year this year.
Yeah, and I see that Eric, who's joining us, says that round one is suicide with David Johnson. He was the RB9 last year in a crap
situation. Yes.
I think because so many people have been burned by him, and this is what's happening with Le'Veon Bell as well. And I didn't mean to rhyme that, but of course,
dropping bars over there, Ray.
Whenever you're burned by a player, you will never give them the benefit of the doubt again. And I understand, and it happened. Listen, it happened when Todd Gurley, the first year that Sean McVay showed up, that people were like saying the things that they're saying about David Johnson right now is exactly what they were saying about Todd Gurley in the first year with Sean McVay. Everybody super morose that they did not draft Todd Gurley and let him fall to where they did. So nobody is making that mistake with David Johnson this year. Make sure that he's on your roster. And number 4, this is the big 4. And we don't probably have to spend too much time because now we're just splitting hairs. I think Ezekiel Elliott for me because of the holdout. I love the notion of like, I'm going to Cabo to work out. It's like, I'm going to Las Vegas to do some work. Like you are not I'm going, what do you think you're just going to go to the gym? They don't have gyms in Texas. You got to go down to Cabo of all places. That's, I don't get it. I don't know. I'm going to the sushi bar tonight, but I'm going there to work out. I just want everybody to know when I'm at Tsunami on Wednesday night, I am there to work out. And that's it. And so we talked. Obviously, you weren't here for the opening about the Cowboys offense. This offense, and while you can find replacement level running backs, that's not the way that Jerry Jones constructed this team. He put so many resources into the defense. He put it into 3 big components on the offense. You got 3 big guys. You got a 90-year-old tight end who's only playing because he was so terrible.
I forgot Jason Witten was back.
Right? He was so bad in the
Just thank God he's not on Monday Night Football anymore. Doing one of these constantly,
we're all winners.
Just be thankful.
Fans of the Cowboys win. Fans of Monday Night Football win. Everybody's a winner with Jason Witten back on the football field. And hopefully we'll never see him in the broadcast booth again, unless, he's calling Mountain West games. Where did he play? He played at Tennessee. He can be in the SEC network or something like that. Ezekiel Elliott, though, of the big 4, is somebody he's the bottom part of the big 4. The longer he holds out and spends time in Cabo San Lucas, the higher David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell are going to get on my list. Where do you stand with Ezekiel Elliott?
100% agreed. I am 100% on board with you. Having been to Cabo a few times, I can't fault his choice of, retreats. Cabo is an absolutely beautiful place. But come on. I mean, he was in the same place when he was suspended last year. So I guess this is like a safe haven for him where he feels all comfortable and loved. But yeah, this holdout thing that Le'Veon Bell started, this is not a trend I want to continue as a fantasy player. This is not good. Just pay your players. Anyway, I do agree. These, and like you said, these 4 are going to be splitting hairs with a hatchet. So out of these 4, he would have to drop simply because of that holdout. And you do have a very good point. That does raise people like Le'Veon Bell as well in the rankings. But I like him exactly where you have him.
And I don't believe that we need to spend too much time talking about Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, the top 3 guys. But what I want out of you is who is your if you're sitting there at 1.01, who are you taking with that first overall pick?
David Johnson.
Okay. David Johnson above all else.
All right. I'll tell you who I'm taking. I'm going to take.
You're at 1.02. Somebody's taking David Johnson ahead of you.
Alvin Kamara. I'll take Alvin Kamara. I like Alvin Kamara a lot, especially with the addition of Latavius Murray. He's just explosive in the pass game. They're going to utilize him. He brings so much to that offense, and he's a stud. He's an absolute stud. I like him a little better because Christian McCaffrey, I believe his numbers kind of depleted after Cam Newton got hurt. That stinks. And then Saquon Barkley is on that garbage Giants offense. I'm really sorry, Giants fans. Really sorry. Don't mean to kind of throw that dart, but I did anyway, so I guess we just have to deal with it. So I do like that a little bit better. But, I mean, again, all these guys are really good. But if I was at the 101, I'll take Alvin Kamara. If I was at the 102 and Kamara was taken, I'll take David Johnson. I like those guys. And let's say I kept falling, I would take the top 4.
You can take David
I
Johnson.
kind of covered all my bases there.
I'm not gonna argue with your David Johnson.
I love him dearly.
That's great. Now that I know, and for full disclosure, we're in a league together. Although I think that our draft order has been predetermined by where we finished last year. Did you lose in the finals to Jordan?
Yeah, I got I got third place.
You got third place. So you're drafting at the end. You're not getting any of these guys. So
yeah, I always draft at the end. Every single draft I'm in, they're like, "Whoop, you're at the 11th." I'm like, oh, again? It's either 6 or 11.
Well, we do ours.
So
we do ours based on where you finish that season. So I'm sorry that you do so well that you can't get a high draft pick.
I know the struggle is real. The struggle is real, folks.
I feel terrible for you. But
where did you finish? I forgot where you finished.
I might not have if I made the playoffs, I got eliminated in the first round. I didn't make it very far. I had some difficulties. Okay. Who's my quarterbacks got hurt. I had every injured quarterback last year. That was one of the things that hurt. I was relying on Andy Dalton, and then he got hurt. So that was
oh God, that's right. That was your low point. That was a low point. You survived though.
I did find a way. But I put in a good effort, and so whatever. It is what it is. Congratulations to Jordan Bishop, who won that league. Of course, I will say a couple of things about Christian McCaffrey. He is the 6th player in NFL history to lead his team outright in carries, rush yards, rush touchdowns, receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Probably won't do that again as DJ Moore gets a little bit more opportunity because he's going to.
And same thing with Curtis Samuel as well. He's really coming up, and his reception perception by Matt Harmon really has him with way better separation than David Moore. And he and Cam Newton are both healthy again, so you could see a resurgence of him as well in this offense.
So I think Christian McCaffrey will be very good, but it's why I would put him behind Alvin Kamara. I will actually go with Saquon Barkley, and I understand that offense doesn't have a lot of options outside of him, but it reminds me of Adrian Peterson during his second season. His quarterbacks were Gus Frerotte and Tavares Jackson. The leading wide receivers were Bobby Wade, Bernard Berryman, Matt Zeller, and Vashante Shinnico. One of those players actually didn't play NFL football. He was a center at the University of San Diego. I will let you all try to figure out who that was, but that's how random those players were. And still, Adrian Peterson went out and led the NFL with 1,700 rushing yards, averaged over 100 rushing yards per game. And Adrian Peterson is not the receiver that Saquon Barkley is. So Saquon Barkley would actually be my number 1. But I think, again, we're talking about the top guys. We don't need to spend too much time on it. I know that it's the toughest decision that you have to make, but listen, they're all good. What do you want me to do? You're sitting there at Restaurant Row. There's a Del Taco next to In-N-Out Burger. They're both great. What do you want me to do? Pick one. They're both good. Just go and pick
Close your eyes and press a button.
Pick the one that
it'll be good.
Pick the guy that you're going to want to root for, the guy you're going to be happiest with. The one thing that if he goes, I always think about if this player goes off and I don't have him, how bad am I going to feel? So if I ended up going with somebody else, it was also we were doing the Scott Fish Bowl. I almost wanted to go with Melvin Gordon, but I said, you know what? I dogged this guy so much. I don't want to be a part of this. And of course, as you said, the next day it turns out he's holding out. Cool.
Would you like some salt and a lemon to rub into my Melvin Gordon wound? I mean, I can ship it to you, and you can just go ahead and make me feel bad. Mm-hmm.
How did that happen to you with the Melvin Gordon? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up again.
That's now, Rank. Watch it.
I want to talk about. I want to get some. Let's get some rapid fire in here. I know this is supposed to be worst running backs, some sleepers, but I just want to go through some running backs. Let's get some quick impressions because
Let's do it.
I don't get to use this room all day, and they're going to come kick me out here pretty quick. Derrick Henry, where are you standing with him?
Concerned about his injury. Possible bust candidate, sadly, and I don't like that.
I believe that I'm going to be the sucker who buys in because that's just what I do. I want to believe in people, and I want to believe in Derrick Henry. But I'm with you. I think that he's going to be a bust. Hopefully, he's one of those guys that I hope gets sniped right in front of me. So because I don't want to pass him and have him go off because that feels terrible. But if he's picked right in front of you, you're like, oh, I would have done it, but oh well, he was drafted. What about?
He'll probably have some really good games. He'll also probably have some garbage games. I don't think he has the consistency for as high as he's going.
Yes, that's going to be one of the biggest problems. What about Devonta Freeman coming back from his injury with the Atlanta Falcons?
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now that Tevin Coleman is gone, it's just up to him to stay healthy, and this backfield is his. And that opens up the field for all the receivers, and it gives Matt Ryan a little bit more time to be the Matty Ice of old. Me likey.
Like it? Okay. Josh Jacobs.
Love it. I love Josh Jacobs. My runny rucky backs generally aren't like what I go for. Yeah, see? The runny rucky backs, get it? Everyone else got it except for you. I like Josh Jacobs. The only thing I worry about is that he's not 85 years old, so Gruden might actually just bench him until he is super old. That could be a problem. But this is his backfield to lose in a similar situation like Devonta Freeman is. Behind him is Jalen Richard, who's their primarily pass-catching running back. I do like Josh Jacobs a lot. He should be a stud in this offense if he can stay healthy and if that offensive line can be decent.
John Gruden has only had one running back top 250 carries during his NFL coaching career. That was Cadillac Williams in 2005. Now, to be perfectly fair, John Gruden hasn't had the best running backs of all time. So that, so you can take that a little bit with a grain of salt, but I will put out a little bit of a word for David Montgomery that last season, Jordan Howard had 250 carries in an offense that did not suit him. I think it's very feasible that David Montgomery goes out and gets that kind of workload with the Bears, which to me would move him ahead of Josh Jacobs. But I like both those guys just as well. What about LeSean McCoy?
Is he still alive?
He's still around. Yeah, he missed practice on Wednesday, though. He was an excused practice. I think everybody keeps hoping, and this is my if I'm just fantasy.
I have a theory about all the Bills running backs.
Devin Singletary.
They're going to they're except for Devin Singletary, who I hope kind of emerges, because I love guys that come from small schools like Florida Atlantic, which is where Devin Singletary is from. I hope he succeeds. But I think what the Bills are doing, which is very sneaky, they're actually getting as many running backs as they possibly can to replace their offensive line. I think that's what's going to happen. Which is Swiss cheese, in case anybody wanted to know, because Josh Allen was literally steamrolled almost every single game. He had 506 scrambling plays and 123 designed runs for a man that actually has some legs in this league. Yeah, because he was running for his life. They need to have more people on the offensive line. So I think that's what they're getting all these running backs for. Why not?
That's a very good. I thought they were trying to do one of those Expendables type movies where they're just like,
maybe, yeah.
We got them all. We got every expendable running back. I hope LeSean McCoy goes to Tampa Bay. Like, that would be my dream, is that he gets released, ends up with Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. But the one thing is the Bills brought in 7 new members of the offensive line, either through free agency or the draft thing. Love Devin Singletary, 22 touchdowns in 2018. Could be somebody who eventually wins that job. I like a lot of the moves the Bills made this season. So I don't like LeSean McCoy. I want to get into Devin Singletary. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity. What about, because it is our duty to talk about nearly everybody, what about the Bengals RB1?
Next.
I will say this, and I know I do want to just address this real quick. I know that you and I both don't like having him on our teams. I was somebody who is optimistic given the opportunity because Zach Taylor coming in, hey, it's kind of like a LeSean McCoy type of, a Sean McVay type of situation. Perhaps something magical could happen there, but now that AJ Green is going to be out for a considerable amount of time, I know that some people are hopeful he will be back by week 1. He's not going to be. An ankle injury is going to end up lingering forever. And then you look at the guy, not Mohamed Sanu, but the guy opposite of him, actually plays worse when AJ Green is not on the field. John Ross is hurt again. The offensive line is now getting banged up. I don't draft this player anyways, but I'm definitely not drafting him now. What about Aaron Jones, though?
I love him. Sorry. I know you love the Packers so much, but I do like Aaron Jones. Because the new head coach, Aaron Rodgers, also loves Aaron Jones very much. So that's one of the reasons I have a lot of faith in Aaron Jones. I think the Jamal Williams experiment has been tested and failed miserably as it grew mold in the Petri dish. So
Right.
I think they're going to be moving forward with Aaron Jones as their bell cow. He's got great hands. He's also a good line from scrimmage runner. Aaron Jones really likes him, and that chemistry, like I said, with their new head coach, Aaron Jones. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers. So many Aarons. Another
many
name
Aarons on that
situation
team.
that always messes me up. I do like Aaron Jones a lot.
It seems like the kind of move where they got to draft guys named Aaron because it'll make Rodgers feel better. Like, because he just seems like that kind of egomaniac that he can only relate to people who have the same first name as him or something like that. And by the way, I know you mentioned Jamal Williams. We had a taco truck at our place for Wedge's first birthday last week. The horchata in our fridge has aged better than Jamal Williams over the last.
Oh gosh.
What about Kerryon Johnson?
I want to really, really, really like him. That's my fantasy football name in our league is Carry On, My Wayward Son.
Yes.
I do like Carry On Johnson. Matt Patricia has also kind of come out and said that it's going to be a split backfield. I don't know how much I believe him because the running backs coach has said almost the opposite. He's like, no, he's going to get a huge workload. He's incredibly talented. We want to use him. We want to run him. And I know a lot of people see this as bad that CJ Anderson came in. I actually see it as a good thing for Kerryon Johnson. If you don't forget, yes, he was really good on the Rams because everyone who's on the Rams is good. That's just how that freaking offense works, which is totally unfair, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm not bitter or anything, whatever. But he also signed with the Panthers, I think, was it, for a week before he got cut.
True.
So is he really as super duper awesome at his age right now as we all are assuming he is? Is he going to be putting Kerryon Johnson's job in jeopardy? What he'll probably do is come and sniper some points, and he'll be like a huge that helps no one for the regular season. That'll just annoy everybody. But I do like Kerryon Johnson. He's still going in the 5th round in half PPR, right? So I think he has some pretty good value.
Got great value. Darrell Bevell, when he was the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, and of course he wasn't last season, but during his tenure as the offensive coordinator with the Seahawks, I believe they ran the ball the 3rd most in the NFL during that stretch from 2013 to 2017. It's top 3 at least. So I'm a big proponent of getting Kerryon Johnson. Matt Patricia is going to try to follow that Patriots model. Run the ball as much as possible. Try not to rely on throwing it, which is going to be a problem for guys and girls who are drafting. Kenny Golladay.
Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be talking
and
about
then TJ Hawkinson, who's their new rookie tight end. I mean, I feel so bad for people that get drafted by the Lions. My husband's a big Lions fan. I'm sorry, honey. This has nothing to do with you. People who go to the Lions eventually just football die. It just stinks.
Yeah.
So TJ Hawkinson, I'm not quite sure about that one.
That's a great point. And that's a little spoiler for next week because we'll get into the wide receivers and talk about that and everything like that. Peyton Barber, Damian Harrison. Those are 2 sleepers I have. I think whoever the running back is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be pretty good. And I think Damian Harris is a fun little sleeper if Sonny Michel has any problems with his knee.
I agree. I also like James White, but they serve 2 completely different roles on that Patriots offense. And they did get Damian Harris because of Sonny Michel's extensive history, one of which was a broken forearm in an ATV accident. Totally feel you, bro. I did the same thing. It happens to the best of us. But it's his knee that I'm most worried about. I think they are too. So that's why they brought in Damian Harris as well. And Peyton Barber is an uber sleeper. He's going in half PPR. He's going around the 10:04 position. We don't associate the word running back with Tampa Bay right now. Who else is there? Ronald Jones, Peyton Barber, Rojo. So I don't know. We'll see if Bruce Arians can make some magic happen with those people with collective 4 left feet. So maybe he'll be a good dance partner this year.
And, you know what? Tony just wants to throw out a word for Nick Chubb. Personally,
do you like Nick Chubb as well?
Oh, I love Nick Chubb. I think that even though that there's, somebody looming in the background, that's week 10. I don't care. I want to win those first 9 weeks,
I agree.
8 weeks. I have no problem. And anybody who wants to be scared off of taking Nick Chubb, well, that's your fault. It's not ours. Now, I do want to take this opportunity to thank Stepmom Lauren for joining us. Tell us once again where you can, for anybody who's joining the live stream, because of course, if you're listening to us on a podcast, and if you are, I hope you have liked and subscribed and left a comment. But if you're joining the live stream, where can you find your work, Stepmom Lauren?
You can find my work, podcast, articles on my website, stepmomlauren.com. It's basically a hub of all of my stuff that I put there. I am a writer, analyst, contributor for The Fantasy Footballers with Andy, Mike, and Jason. You can find me at Twitter at stepmomlauren. Easy. You can find me on Facebook.com/stepmomlauren. Very consistent. Instagram, guess what? It's stepmomlauren. You can find me. Come say hi. I'm a nice person. I like to chat. I want to hear your opinions. And let's make this happen. And also, I do have a channel on YouTube. So everyone do me a favor. Search me on YouTube, not Google, because that won't be very good. Go to YouTube
Google
and search Stepmom Lauren. Don't do that. Don't do it. Unless you really like adult video entertainment, then go ahead by all means. But go to YouTube, search Stepmom Lauren, find my page, like and subscribe so I can get a custom URL and bring you even more fun fantasy stuff, which I'll be recording actually later this afternoon.
And if you were, and to reiterate this, if you're looking for Stepmom Lauren, make sure it's YouTube, not any other
video streaming service. YouTube.
You and not any other similar type of websites. But thank you so much. We do appreciate you coming on and being a part of the show. You've been a big part of this program, obviously, for the last number of years, so we appreciate it when we get a chance to actually sit down and properly talk and not have you bouncing around. So everybody who is sitting there hoping that you were going to come in and answer all their questions like you normally do during the live stream, tough luck. She joined us here, so we do appreciate that, and we appreciate everybody checking out it. And for me, you can check me out at Adam Rank on Twitter and Facebook, or it's Adam Rank NFL on YouTube or Instagram, which is huge. The kids love the Instagram. Shout out to Paul Heyman, who cut a promo on me on one of my tweets from yesterday by using him in an analogy. He saw it and cut a neat little promo on me on Twitter, so check that out as well. But big thanks to everybody. One little thing, too. The Fantasy Meets Reality Tour is now coming to its California stretch. We'll be in Irvine on August 9th, San Jose on August 11th, and then it'll be Oxnard on the 18th, and actually before that we'll be in Ontario. We have dates in Burbank. You can check it out on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Adam Rank. You go check out, get tickets, or you can go to improv.com, find a show that is near you, come out and check it out. We'll see you there. For Stepmom Lauren and Mitch Hine, I am Adam.
Bye, guys.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.